Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're diving into a topic that's been gaining serious traction in the health space. We're talking about dry fasting versus wet fasting, and which one actually delivers better results, based on what the science tells us. Before we get into this, I want to be upfront. Fasting, especially dry fasting, is not something to take lightly. But since so many people are curious about it, let's look at what the actual research says, rather than relying on internet claims. Let's start with the basics. Wet fasting means you're abstaining from food, but still drinking water, tea, black coffee, basically any non-caloric beverages. This is what's been studied the most. Dry fasting means no food and no water. Nothing passes your lips. There are two types: soft dry fasting, where you can shower and brush your teeth, and hard dry fasting, where you avoid all contact with water. The big question is, which one produces better results? But we need to define what better results actually means. Weight loss, cellular repair, longevity? Because the answer might be different, depending on what you're after. Let's talk about wet fasting first, because we actually have substantial research here. When you stop eating but continue drinking water, your body goes through several phases. In the first 24 hours, you're burning through your glycogen stores. Once those are depleted, usually around the 24 to 48-hour mark, your body shifts into ketosis, where it starts breaking down fat for fuel. A landmark study published in Cell Metabolism in 2019 examined prolonged fasting effects on humans. After 3 days of water fasting, participants showed significant increases in autophagy, your body's cellular cleaning system, where damaged cells and proteins get broken down and recycled. The study noted improvements in markers of cellular stress, resistance, and metabolic health. Research from the University of Southern California found that fasting for 2 to 4 days can trigger immune cell regeneration. In their study published in Cell Stem Cell, they showed that prolonged fasting forces the body to start producing new white blood cells, essentially regenerating the immune system. This happened with water fasting, and it's pretty remarkable. Now, dry fasting proponents claim these benefits happen faster and more intensely when you also remove water. The theory is that when your body is deprived of external water, it's forced to metabolize fat more aggressively to produce metabolic water. They argue this creates a more concentrated autophagic effect and pushes cells into deeper repair. Here's the challenge: there's very limited scientific research on dry fasting in humans. Most of what we know comes from observational studies around Ramadan fasting, where Muslims abstain from food and water from dawn until sunset. A study published in the Journal of Religion and Health analyzed health outcomes and found reductions in inflammatory markers and improvements in lipid profiles. However, participants also experienced dehydration effects, and the fasting period was only sunrise to sunset, not continuous 24 or 48 hours. A review in the Iranian Journal of Basic Medical Sciences looked at physiological effects across multiple studies. While there were some metabolic benefits, there were concerns about dehydration, particularly in people doing physical labor or living in hot climates. Several studies noted decreased cognitive performance during fasting hours, which makes sense since even mild dehydration impairs brain function. This is where we need to talk about real risks. Your body can survive weeks without food, but only days without water. A study in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition demonstrated that dehydration of just 2% of body weight can impair physical performance, cognitive function, and mood. At 3 to 4%, you're looking at significant impairments. Beyond that, you're risking kidney damage, electrolyte imbalances, and organ failure. If you're finding this breakdown helpful, please hit that like button. It helps the algorithm show this to more people trying to make informed decisions about their health. The body does produce metabolic water when breaking down fat. For every 100 grams of fat oxidized, your body produces about 110 milliliters of water. But here's the reality: you lose much more water than that through breathing, sweating, and normal cellular processes. An average person loses about 2 to 3 liters daily, just through normal bodily functions. Even burning fat, you're not producing anywhere near enough metabolic water to compensate. So when we look at claimed benefits of dry fasting versus wet fasting, we have to ask, is there evidence that benefits are significantly greater? And do they outweigh the risks? Based on current scientific literature, the answer is no. There's no solid human research showing dry fasting produces meaningfully better results than wet fasting for autophagy, fat loss, or metabolic health. What we do have is clear evidence that dehydration carries real risks. For weight loss specifically, both will produce results because you're in a caloric deficit. But significant weight loss during dry fasting is water weight that comes right back when you rehydrate. A study in Nutrition Journal found that most weight loss during short-term fasting without water was regained within days. The actual fat loss was comparable to wet fasting. The medical community is unified on this. The American College of Sports Medicine, the National Kidney Foundation, and other major health organizations all emphasize the critical importance of hydration. No major medical body recommends dry fasting. The consensus among doctors and researchers is that wet fasting provides the benefits people seek without serious dehydration risks. Dr. Valter Longo, a leading researcher on fasting and longevity at USC, has conducted extensive studies on prolonged fasting. In his research, participants always maintained hydration and still achieved remarkable results in cellular regeneration, metabolic improvements, and disease markers. His work suggests that adding dehydration stress doesn't enhance benefits and potentially undermines them. Here's my take after looking at all available evidence. If you're interested in fasting for health benefits, wet fasting has decades of research showing it works. It promotes autophagy, improves metabolic markers, aids weight management, and supports cellular health when done correctly. The risks are manageable. Dry fasting might sound more extreme, but more extreme doesn't mean better results. It just means more risk. The bottom line, wet fasting has the science, safety profile, and proven results. Dry fasting has claims, potential risks, and not enough evidence to justify those risks. Your body needs water to function, to detoxify, to carry out those very processes that fasting is supposed to enhance. So which one delivers better results? Based on everything we know right now, wet fasting is the clear winner. It's safer, sustainable, backed by solid research, and delivers the benefits people are looking for without unnecessary risk. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to the channel for more evidence-based health content. Stay safe out there, and remember, your health is too important to risk on trends that aren't backed by science. See you in the next one!